Everyone, welcome back to another PNSO review. Today we're taking a look at Xilin, the Wuerhosaurus. This is the newest stegosaur species from PNSO. They've done a few different species over the years, and now we are up to Wuerhosaurus. And just look how cute and dumpy this little fellow is. I think his proportions are absolutely adorable. Now I ended up ordering mine from PNSO's AliExpress store. The figure retails for just under $40. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to order one for yourself. So Xilin here surprisingly isn't the first Wuerhosaurus from PNSO. They did a mini a few years back, and this seems to be quite, the popular stegosaur species. I think we have 4 Wuerhosaurus now. We have one from the now defunct Vitae, and Hologood released a pair not too long ago. So anyways, let's just go over the package really quick. It is number 82 in the Prehistoric Animal Models line. We have a very adorable picture of roly-poly Xilin on the front of the box. Nice shot of the profile on top of the box. And inside we do get a nice little poster, and this one is actually artwork. Sometimes these posters are hit or miss. Sometimes just a promo shot of the figure, but we do get a nice poster of Wuerhosaurus. Very, very cool. And then inside we also do get a nice little pamphlet on how to draw Wuerhosaurus and some product shots of the figure. No skeleton here. I'm kind of disappointed by that. Information on this dinosaur is very hard to come by online. Can't really find too much on skeletal. So anyways, enough about the packaging. Let's throw this little chubster up on the turntable and take a closer look. And here is Xilin in all its roly-poly glory. I absolutely adore the proportions on this figure. Stegosaurs had very, very wide hips, and PNSO went all out making this boy very, very wide. Wuerhosaurus had a very low, stout build, and I think it's perfectly captured in this sculpt. Now, my only criticism of this figure, I think the paint job is really not that good. A few years ago, the promo shots look much better than the actual figures you got in hand, and then PNSO kind of got a little bit better at that. The figures more closely match the paint schemes of the promo pictures, and this one does not. On the side of the box, it had a much more, kind of like an orange coloration to the body, and the blue looked much better on the plates. The blue is just very, very sloppily applied on here, and I find that pretty much inexcusable for a $40 figure. So the paint scheme is kind of hurting this one in my book. Other than that, I think the sculpt is fantastic. Just absolutely love it. It's just such an adorable figure. Just want to pinch that little rump on this Wuerhosaurus. So yeah, definitely like it. Paint scheme, really not that good. And now time for some measurements. This figure is about 7¼ inches long if you measure along the curve of the tail and the neck, or about 18.4 centimeters. God, my handwriting sucks on my notes. And about 2½ inches tall to the highest plate on the hips, or 6.3 centimeters. So there were 2 species of Wuerhosaurus homini and ordocensis. And homini is the largest, around 23 feet long, or 7 meters. So I put the figure somewhere in the 138 scale. Ordocensis was smaller, around 16 feet. So PNSO likes to keep their figures around that 135-ish scale. So this is obviously homini. And now let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details of this figure. I just love how chunky it is. It is just absolutely adorable. It's one of the most adorable looking figures in my collection. So let's zoom in and take a look at the head. It's kind of tough because it is a very small head, and I just want to get my camera to focus in on it. You can see the eye is painted orange with a black pupil. Got a little bit of dry brushing of dark coloration for the skull. You can clearly see the nostril sculpted in here. And the underside of the neck, you can see that, almost chainmail-like armor to protect stegosaurs' necks. There's just a bunch of osteoderms right there to protect the very vulnerable neck. Had a pretty long neck, and then going down to those plates, like I said earlier, I think the paint apps on the plates are kind of crappy. Just the way the blue is applied, like you get some of the blue bleeding in on the neck right here. Just very, very sloppy paints. I expect more for a $40 figure. It's just, PNSO's gotten a lot better over the years with their figures, matching their promo images. As I feel like this one just missed the mark with the paint apps. You're just missing some of that bright orange on the body, and just the blue just looks really, really sloppy. So since we're talking about the blue on the plates, these plates are really, really short, pretty unique looking for stegosaurs. The Wuerhosaurus specimen, those plates are actually broken, and they should be bigger. We just don't know the shape of them. It seems like every company that tackles this figure doesn't want be speculative and just come up with a plate shape. So this is accurate to what we know currently, what we have of the plates, but they were broken. They definitely a different shape than this. So then going down to the body of this very, very wide body. Seriously, look at this thing from the front, just like baby got back. I just absolutely, absolutely love it. And then looking at the body, look at this fine scale detail on here. Absolutely amazing looking. That dark brown does bring it out really nicely. You got some nice folds and wrinkles and some osteoderms peppered throughout. Then you just, PNSO loves their dark and light browns, and that's pretty much the color scheme all over the whole body. And then going down to those hilariously short front legs, you see the toes are nicely sculpted. Here's a view of the underbelly. Good nice scale detail on there with that giant pot belly, and here is the cloaca slit. Got a little bit of red, some irritation right there. Some baby wipes will take care of that. And then going down to the hind legs, more of that dark coloration. Mix it in, just absolutely, just like I said, I think he's just absolutely adorable, and I just love the fine scale detail on here. Just wish the paint apps were just a little bit better. And then going down to the tail, we take a look at the Thagomizer, all done in that dark brown paint. So yeah, all around, sloppy paint apps aside, I think this is an absolutely great looking figure. It's nice that PNSO is finally, getting back to doing herbivores, and I think this one turned out quite well, paint apps aside. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with Collectase 140 scale human, and let's just throw more human out here. Here it is with Dennis Shredry, fat guy getting all buff. And thank you, Aaron, for coming up with the name for this absolutely ridiculous looking Mattel figure. And next up here is Vitae's take. Some of you, older collectors might remember Vitae from a few years ago. They were really, really good company, but unfortunately they went under. You can see this one has these speculative shoulder spikes. The other Wuerhosaurus figures don't have that. Yeah, the Vitae one is really good, but the PNSO one is definitely better quality. And I actually don't have the mini PNSO figure. Here is Holland Goods take on it, and I'm looking for the other one. I have a bunch of figures to the side of the camera. Here is the purple variant. Holland Goods, both these figures cost less than the single PNSO one right here. I think these retail for around $17, but PNSO's is a better quality. Holland Goods has gotten much better. I just felt like they're Wuerhosaurus. The paint apps make the figures look really, really soft. They could have been a little bit better to really bring them out, but PNSO definitely nailed. Let's just reverse that because it's not working the position I had it. Just nailed the wideness of the hips on Stegosaur versus Holland Goods attempt. And next up, let's do some other Stegosaur species. Here is Holland Goods Das and Truist, which is, I still consider one of their best figures. It's absolutely amazing, beautifully sculpted and beautifully painted, and half the price of a PNSO product of similar size. I love PNSO, just, their prices just kind of annoy me a little bit. And speaking of PNSO, here is their Stegosaurus. This one came out a while ago. This figure's, back then retailed around $20. Their prehistoric animal model line for a time was pretty budget friendly, and then the prices just kept creeping up. You can see, how much PNSO has changed over the years. This is a very, very over textured figure. It's still a great looking figure because everyone's, they're back to doing nice proportionate looking scales. And more PNSO Stegosaurs. Here it is with their Maragaya, and here it is with their amazing yet hilariously overpriced $60 Stegosaurus, which is still one of the best Stegosaurus figures out there. And one thing PNSO has been very good at, they've been just nailing the wideness of Stegosaurs. You really don't see that being that wide from other companies. And since Wuerhosaurus is from Asia, it's actually from the early Cretaceous of Asia, it's one of the last known surviving Stegosaur species. Here it is with Holland Goods, Xilin. And what else we got over here? I have a lot of figures on the table right now. Here it is with PNSO's Yang Chawanosaurus. And I guess the theme of the night is overpriced PNSO figures. Here it is with their $60 Stegosaurus, which I think is one of the best Hadrosaur figures out there, other than the price on it. And what else do we got kicking around on the table? And here it is with PNSO's Therizinosaurus. And lastly, no review is complete without comparing every dinosaur figure to a T-Rex. Here it is with Eofauna's take on Sue. So, final thoughts on PNSO's take on Wuerhosaurus. Of the few figures we have of the species, this one is definitely, in my eyes, the definitive version of that. Just the paint apps not matching up to the promo images, which I've stated before. PNSO has gotten much better at that. They slipped a little bit on this release. I just think the blue on the plates look very cheap and sloppy. I expect more for a $40 figure. That being said, I still like the figure a lot. It's going to be my definitive Wuerhosaurus in my collection. I love to see them to tackle some other Stegosaur species. I really want someone to make a nice high quality Kentrosaurus. I know Safari repainted theirs, but I really need a nice Kentro for my collection. Someone please do it. It's a popular Stegosaur species. It's really not that hard to do. But yeah, I just love how fat and chubby this figure is. It's absolutely freaking adorable, and just those wide hips. So yeah, just for just the cuteness factor of this, I do highly recommend this figure. So that will do it for the review. My Holland Good Memenchisaurus has shipped from Atlanta Time Shop. That should be here probably in a couple weeks. So be on the lookout for that review. And then I think in a couple more weeks, the Jurassic World Hammer Collection, Giganotosaurus, and Therizinosaurus, those are releasing. So be also on the lookout for those reviews. So that will do it. As always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.